Do you want to? You guys don't mind moving?
Yep.
I think.
I will. They can move.
Thank you. So how many of you have what you think is a value proposition for your business, your real estate business? Okay, yeah. Anyone? I've done probably 5 or 6 of them in my career. They do tend to evolve.
My keeps changing.
Yeah, yep. And as it should, because you keep changing and the values you provide to your clients and your clients keep changing.
Yeah.
So, it's not a one and done, but it is a very important part of your overall how you interact with people and how you tell them about the values that you bring. And so what we're going to try to do today on the blank sheet of paper is, as we go through the notes, they did print them out, so you could take notes on that. But what I'd like you to do is on the piece of paper, write my value proposition at the top. Write my knowledge, attitude, skills, and beliefs in a column on the right hand side, like this. Below that, and still in that same column, what do my clients want and what benefits can I provide? Okay. We're going to have the one, if we have the total one and then 3 others. Yeah. And skills and beliefs. And then on the left hand side, just things in my value proposition. Kind of, almost 4 squares, but we're going to leave the column on the left or on the right long. Okay, so then cut, and that doesn't show. I can turn it on like sheet of paper, cut that in half, and then what do my clients want? What are the on the right there? And what do they want? What are the benefits I can provide them? Because the class goes through a lot of ideas that will make you think about your knowledge, your attitude, beliefs, and values. So as we go through the slides, annotate those. And it could be something totally off base and that you think of, but that's okay. Just annotate it there. And then later we'll be, just highlighting the top things that we want to highlight. So by the end of the day, you'll know what a value proposition is. We'll understand the benefits to you and to your clients for creating a personal proposition, and be able to describe to our clients then how we can help them best. So that's what we hope to do. And probably several slides ahead. And hello.
Maybe RJ can help, let's see.
Okay,
Try to hit the clicker now.
yep, that's works.
Jumps.
So we're gonna go through what matters most to buyers and sellers based on the numbers. It's a national information, so you can keep things. Gonna look at that, then we're gonna work on what is the value proposition and define our own. So at the end, you should have a pretty good first cut at what your value proposition is. So can anyone think of what types of things they'd want to put in your value proposition? Let's see.
Specific.
Yeah,
Very specific.
and unique. You want to make it something memorable, though I would say when you're starting to define your values and stuff, don't focus on those things. List everything. And persuasive. So we're gonna bring it down to a statement. But it addresses the specific and special needs of the buyers and sellers in your market. And I would take that a step further to address the needs of the people you want to serve. You know, get as specific as you want.
So the agent you never want to divorce would not be the one.
The agent, wait, there's too many negatives in that.
Good.
Right. So, you know, one of the exercises they have is examples using our Y4C2Ts. So what things there really resound with you and your personal values and beliefs? So if you could bring out one that really stands out, what would it be? And why?
The one I use is commitment. I use that all the time.
Mm-hmm,
Not to say that other ones applicable, but
mm-hmm. I know we never think about, well, which one really is,
I know I'm tenacious and I can pick up on you. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
Go to the finish line.
mm-hmm. I love that, write that down, go to finish line. And sometimes it's verbalizing and you use your own language. Anyone else have one of those that really stands out to them?
For me, it's trust. You have to trust me and I have to trust you.
Mhm.
There's no, it just doesn't work.
Right. No, I'm a ninja, so it's all about people you know, like, and trust, and people who know, like, and trust you. You form that relationship over time, but if you don't have that, it starts breaking down.
Integrity for me.
Integrity.
I can even people are telling you to do something different or you do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless.
Regardless of the outcome. Yep. Okay, let's see.
I think a lot of people who are KW specifically, part of the things that we're attracted to are because each of the Y4CTs are part of, they're intrinsic to who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so we align with them and it makes sense. to
Right.
us.
Right.
Yeah, so then you have a group of us and we're all like, no, we definitely want this for each of us. This is how we feel, how we represent, and why we work well together.
Mm-hmm. But do you think everybody values those things equally?
No. But I do think depending on the moment you're in, the things that they value changes and
They-
they can be any one of those.
It
So-
really can.
Sasha can say integrity, I totally agree with that. If
Mhm.
you're gonna lie to me, I have issues, which puts us with trust. If I cannot
Right.
trust you,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't show up, then I know you're not committed. And if you're not willing to strategize, I know you're not creative. I know, they're all interchangeable spokes in the wheel.
Right. And I often find that, like, if you find somebody that's not willing to strategize, a lot of times it's just inexperience. And if you kind of step through and help them think about different ways to strategize and ask the other agent, ask them questions about their client. Well, they may not, they'll say, I don't know. Well, maybe you should know so that we can come up with a win-win situation.
But I think that's part of the key though, there also is, because I'm in that boat also,
Mhm.
don't know what you don't know as well.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
I've been doing this for, officially a little over a year now, but it's been part-time and I'm still trying to learn things. And honestly, I still don't know what I don't know in a lot of aspects.
Mhm. Yep, and so have you found team members
Yeah,
around that
I've
you?
got a mentor, I've got a coach,
Mhm.
I work with them as often as I can with my schedule permitting. But
Mhm.
it's a long process.
Yeah, it is. And it's like you need that person that I've got this scenario right now. And how can we talk about it? And to me, that's where the teamwork comes in. And, I'm part of a fabulous team that, we have that relationship with almost everyone. And everyone kind of brings something to the table. So. Top agents can easily, this is Gary Keller, of course, top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. That is a pretty simplistic version of a value proposition. But, it's also, you want to give something that's really reflects you authentically. And not a list of, here's the services I provide, which is kind of, I'm the analytical one, so I think that would the field is of what I do, which isn't what you want out of your value proposition. Oh, I blanked it out, sorry, here we go. So it helps your clients understand your value and your expertise. So, when you're not as experienced, one of the things that you can leverage off our KW culture of teamwork and things and say, I have I don't know how many agents are we? 227. I'm part of a team that loves sharing their values, and somewhere out there I can help find the answer. So you can leverage the company and the knowledge, just the knowledge amongst all the bigs and, senior agents is amazing, I think. Protects your commission. How does your value proposition protect your commission?
Trouble. Know and committed to knowing everything that there is to know and using your poker so you don't get in trouble.
Right.
Lines.
Yep.
It also bulletproofs the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you protect your commission. You make sure
Right.
your transaction is.
Moves forward and
Moves
moves
forward.
forward legally and everything.
And in the line, not omitting the fiduciary responsibility, just saying,
Mm-hmm.
but if this is it, it's going to go.
Right. Well, I like to think, and the 3 here is building strong and trusting relationships. That's, just key to so much of what we do. But your value proposition, it makes you confident in what's authentically you. And that is a big statement in to your buyers and sellers relative to what are the benefits that you're bringing? And, you know, that's core to what we do, and is that confidence and competence that we bring. Even as we're learning, because it's another thing I love about real estate. You're always learning every day, something new. So here's some value proposition examples. And some are better than others, and I always like looking at companies' value propositions. But State Farm, I like, here to help life go right.
Yeah, that's funny.
It is funny, but it's true. Airbnb, it's a little long, I think, but it also, Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, providing healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. So, you know, they've put a lot of their rules and regulations around what defines them. Slack, has anyone used Slack before?
I wholly disagree with that one.
Oh, because you haven't used it.
I use Slack all day.
Oh, okay. You know, I've used it a lot, and that really did make it much easier and more pleasant to, I wouldn't say downright, but it got away from the crazy long email threads and the,
Yeah, but it moved all the crazy long email threads into Slack, which then demands your immediate attention.
actually it doesn't if you can set your criteria.
You can do it like, treat it like email, and I'll get to it at the end of the day, but then, you know, that defeats the purpose of having instant messaging in the workplace.
Right. Yep. But, so anyway, Walmart, everyday low prices for a broad range of goods. They're always in stock in convenient geographic locations. As they've moved to .com, that's changed a little bit, but they still are making most of their money off their big box stores.
But they're not usually in stock, especially here. I think the value is slipping there.
Yep, and as people change their business models, they really often have to relook and change their value proposition too.
Don't get me started on the self-bagging. That's
You don't get your employee discount?
no. And you're gonna penalize me because I do it wrong.
I know.
Training.
I know, it's like, oh, crazy. So, we talked a little bit about, you know, connecting to your value, to KW and our market center values. Just what we're doing, you know, how does being an agent with Keller streamline the process? So we are all fiduciaries to our clients. How does your value proposition relate to serving as a fiduciary? I was shortening. Is there something in your value proposition that kind of implies that fiduciary duty? You know, like one of the things that ended up in mine is that I treat each transaction as if it was me going through it. You know, I have that much attention to the details and everything that's necessary. So, you know, and also the big picture for their life. Is this the right, is this a good decision that they're making? I mean, I don't make their decisions, but I step them through it. It's like, you
I
know,
just had that with because one of mine in my presentation was, I will tell you, you want me to tell you the truth. That's the question I'm asking you.
mhm,
Yes, I'd like you to tell me, even if you don't want to know, you want me to tell you the truth. Well, yes. So auction, she's an auction, and I explained auction, do not get emotional. We're emotional as soon as you make the first bid. So she keeps getting her limit upped. And I'm like, you're gonna have to bring cash to the table. And so the question is, don't you want the commission? No, this isn't about my commission. This is about what's going to happen to you if you win and you don't have the cash, what you're gonna have to do, right?
I remember when you were sitting there going, oh,
I kept telling her, don't bid, don't bid, don't bid. Think eBay, don't
Yeah.
bid until the end, you're bidding against yourself. Because they had dynamic bidding, so every time she placed a bid, 2,000 would go on top of it.
yep.
So she's like, they're ahead of me, they've got 7 days, let them be.
There's, we already talked about there's a point where you have to say stop. Because it's not,
Oh, yeah, we said
Yeah.
stop, I said,
but she kept going.
I texted her how much cash she was gonna have to bring to the table.
Oh.
If she
Good
continued, she didn't have that cash.
cash. Yep, yep.
She's like, so I'm out, I said, yeah, you're out. Unless you find cash.
Right,
You're right, you two don't have this.
well, you know, I remember back when there was the crazy loan options. Talking to buyers and, you know, the lenders were saying, oh yeah, you can afford this, and I'm like. You think about this, you're currently paying $700 a month rent. And you're saying you can pay $3,000 a month for a house. I don't. You know, think about that. Make it real. And you want to furnish the house and you have to buy the lawnmowers and everything else. Where is that going to come from?
Right, and what is your point of return? If this is an investment. Walking them through, well, the maintenance fee is this, there's
Yeah.
assessments on the horizon that are this. This is what your payment is going to be about
Mhm.
if you do this, but this is the amount you can rent it for. And that's not going to make you whole for several more years, so this is a long-term investment, right?
Mhm.
Do you want something that is gonna be closer to cost neutral?
Yeah.
Or is it okay because the property, you really want the property and eventually it will level out? But know that coming in,
No, that is.
that's the
Is-
discussion.
Mhm.
In that discussion, is there an average time for your return on investment for the break even point?
It depends on what it is and what they've brought to the table, but I did Excel spreadsheets, so I've got performance that they get to toggle. I do not populate them. Right, but it has where they can put the money in and they can see, it has an amortization schedule. They can play with the whole thing and they create, does this make sense for me? But I want them to do it.
Yeah, you want them to play with the map to make sure they're comfortable and they understand the risk they're taking.
Because they know their financial picture better than I do. They'll share to a point. But they're,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's not very often that they let you fully into their underwear drawer.
Yeah.
So if
I get in your underwear drawer. There's a value bottom.
I actually tell them that too. If they're talking, I said, we're gonna talk about your money. It's gonna feel like I'm in your underwear drawer. I get it, but we need to know this so that you can be honest with the lender and get what you, so that they can help with whatever your situation looks like. And I said, and they're gonna ask you for it over and over again anyway. So let's just get it organized and
Mhm.
it makes it easier, it breaks the ice, they understand their underwear drawer.
I was gonna say, I'm not doing this because I want to see your underwear. Not at all, but you need to have this data and to make the good decisions.
It's an icebreaker. If you can
I
make
like
them laugh on the things that are painful,
Mhm.
they think you're on their side, and you are.
Clean up agreement.
Yeah.
So how does being a market expert relate to your value proposition? You know, are you focused on certain areas of the market? Are, you know, some people do mostly vacation rentals. I prefer to work with people who are going to live here or that have to move from here. You know, but I'm on a team where everybody's into investors. And I respect that. It's still what my value proposition would say. So, but that's everybody's unique and different, and you define your own. And when you talk to people that are outside that, you might change your value proposition to make it slightly more generic, but you need to capture what's the values that will make you successful in your career. Because being generic is like being nothing. The more specific you can get, the better off you'll be. Okay. So. Here's a couple examples. I have access to the collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200 agents worldwide. Is that
I think it was
200,000? Yeah, it's covered up.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, wait, not enough. You might want to dial it down to our market center, but, or maybe the Hawaii market, because we know so many wonderful agents now on the other islands.
I don't know, Yuko's doing Japan, so.
Yeah.
And when we're looking at this as a global market, when you think about it, the world's a lot smaller than what you think.
It very much is.
So if I
And
needed to find an agent in Canada, in Toronto, I
you
can.
can, definitely.
It won't even take that long.
Right. In fact, you know, people have actually teamed up with teams on the other, you know, in different areas. So fiduciary, I can point you to reputable resources for service providers such as handyman, window washers, tax associates, and financial advisors. And being the source of the source, not the expert in all those areas. Even your lenders. So, market expert, I can help you price your home to sell because I'm very in tune to the market of the moment. So those are some pretty good examples, but you can take and make them your own. So. Right here. So. After going through those, did you guys have any thoughts or? You feeling like you have unique value to bring? No, your eyes are, that's a really good. She makes with one eye, then the other, are like, oh, that's a not answer. Well, just your connection and language is huge. Because if we don't have common language, it makes it really difficult for people. And so,
at your communication. I mean, you just look at all the communication that you do.
And how you present yourself too, it's huge.
Mhm.
Hugo's always.
She's the best at door knocking. Out of everybody I've ever seen, nobody is mean to her. Never.
That's true, right.
You present yourself that way, very
Well,
genuine.
Even when she
Fine.
comes back, I'm here again, you know, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Not
Hello.
scary and threatening at all, not like most realtor door knockers.
Yeah,
No, very
approachable.
approachable.
It's kind of, you know, people say, oh, you're nice, and so. Nice, everybody's nice, you know.
No,
Well,
everybody's not nice.
everybody's nice, and not at all.
You met someone not nice. Not everybody's nice, just because we show up.
I mean, and I think of the people that typically come to our door, they tend to be like salespeople and alarms or whatever. Carpet cleaners and things.
So that's fine.
Yeah, are they nice? Well, they're not like. Anything, but they come off as, well, I'm here to sell you rather than I'm here to provide a service. If you need it.
And it can be scary. My cousin lives next door in our Ohana, and her daughter freaked out because there was a cable guy on the front. But she didn't know he was a cable guy because he wasn't in a cable truck, he was in a regular car.
Right.
And she was home alone, and when he came up to the porch, he tripped and he knocked over all the shoes. Well, he didn't try to pick them up, he just started banging on the door, so she's freaking out, you know. So how we present ourselves, how we come up, and being threatening, you know. People can be threatened in ways that you may not anticipate. She
Right.
is not threatening.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Well, you know, that's when I first started here and I was doing some door knocking. Somebody said, especially when you're working with local people, you don't go up to the door. You call out.
yeah,
Because it's just not, the culture is not that you go up and knock on their door because that's invading their home.
I've never heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And, you know, usually a local family has all the windows and doors open, so we'll call up and say,
yeah.
hello, is anyone home? But it works, and that's considered considerate to them. And so we have to take everything we learn and know and realize that the receiver has different values too. Okay, so now we're gonna look at buyers and sellers. So this is your bottom part. You can, you know, record whatever you think is important. So, you know, at a big perspective, your buyer's goal is just to find the right home at the best price in the right time with the least number of problems. Now, how simple can that be?
It took us a year and 10 offers. Year.
Yep. And that probably wasn't abnormal that year.
Probably not. We moved here in 2021 and there, a lot of people were working here during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think the average to close was 12 for 12 offers.
Offers. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we were
I
lucky.
think that's what
Right.
Graham was saying.
So is that still continuing?
I don't know, I've got one that we're up on like 7 offers right now, we still have one.
Right. I
So,
was gonna say, we're still seeing multiple offers for the right properties. Right.
one we had 20 offers we were up
Mm.
against,
Mhm.
and they came in so far over, it was
Right.
ridiculous. But
We had submitted
cash.
one last week and there had been 14 offers. And we weren't the accepted one.
Well, and then the question is, well, what are you doing wrong? And it's like, is it necessarily wrong to lose? I don't think so. I think if you lose and you priced it appropriately, then you were meant to lose. Because you don't want them to be upside down. You don't want them to have to pay it down. You don't,
Yeah.
you know, there's so many issues.
Yeah. I always like to say a factor in my CMA that I can't provide, you have to provide, is how much do you love this property?
And how long are you going to love it?
Yeah.
Because 2 years of love is not the same as
Same.
20.
Yeah.
Yep, that's actually, I like that. I'm gonna add that to my curriculum. For sellers, the goal is like almost the opposite, to get the most amount of money, with the shortest amount of time, most of the time, with the least number of problems. So, when you think about both of them have the least number of problems, what do you as the agent do to create the least number of problems?
Educate them on what the potential problems could be ahead of time so that when they arise, they know how they want to deal with them.
Communication with,
Both parties.
right. I mean, I always like to say, I've been in business here for 16 years and I know a lot of active agents on them. And I have a good relationship with them. We've negotiated a lot of challenges. But, you know, if you have you still have run into agents every year, even if you don't have that much experience. And the fact that you want to have that good relationship with the agent on the other side.
Well, we're a reputation business.
Yep. Let's see. So, just reading this one and skip it. So, this is the top 10 service areas that of buyer value proposition. And this comes from the Millionaire Real Estate Agents, so it's tried and true over time. And then we'll look at the results of the NARS buyers and sellers values too. And so buyers say needs analysis. What do they mean by that? Buyer values. Do buyers even know what they want?
What they want versus what they need. I think they know what they want. They don't necessarily understand what they need.
Mhm.
But they change what they need and what they want on a dime.
Yes.
Example, I had a client who said, absolutely, the Ohana cannot be on the ground floor. Must be above the garage or on a second story. Security, this is a mental health issue for me, must be there, must. Cannot be in the same house, so it can't be an attached Ohana, must be a detached Ohana. What did she send me? She sends me an attached Ohana on the ground floor and says, this is the one I want to make an offer on. I didn't send it to her, she found it all by herself.
Yep.
I said, why? How does this fit? And she said, well, there's a big fence around the yard. I've never mentioned a big fence around the yard would counter the
Make it
security
different.
issue.
Right. So maybe if you narrowed it down to that security was what she was looking for. Might have been able to stand on,
I knew security, but
yeah,
must.
and
And not.
right. Well, probably the most heartbreaking loss of a client I ever had was, they were friends of mine. They still are kind of friends of mine. I've lost a little trust in them. But I worked with them well over a year trying to find their home on Maui, and they were retirees who moved here. They were renting. And it was back in the 2012 timeframe. So the houses that were available in their package weren't all fixed up and nice and things, but they were the must on several things. One must be in Kihei, must be in livable condition, must be one single story living, and must have a decent sized yard. I don't want people living right on top of each other. So we've looked at a lot. We put in many offers, which they always lowballed. And never got, we got one accepted and then they backed out. So fast forward, after they said, we've just decided we're extending our rent another year. We want to put our looking on hold. About a month later, they bought the house 2 doors down from me, from another agent.
That's all.
The 2-story house that has reverse living, so the main living's all upstairs. Which I would not have even shown them. The same story.
It didn't meet the criteria.
But
And
that's
it was
fires are
way over the budget that they said they would not budge from. So,
So let me ask this, does that speak more to the agent that they bought it from, bought it with? Or does that speak more to them not being upfront and clear?
so I think it's a combination, and I accept responsibility. Because I took them out for coffee afterwards and I said, I just want to understand what happened so that I can improve and do better. And they basically said, you had it seemed like you were negative about everything.
Oh.
And it's like, well, you had put your boundaries so tight and I never pushed those. I don't tend to, but I learned, no, you have to, and you have to revisit those, like, okay, we've gone through all this and it hasn't worked. Now let's revisit and say, where should we be extending and engage that? So I learned, and that's why I'm here sharing. It's not all fun and rainbows.
But that's the X factor. So if you have a collaboration site that's for learning, here's your criteria. Oh, by the way, I saw this. Doesn't fit, in fact, I even leave, does not fit what, because if you don't say that, then they say you weren't listening to them. And that you weren't paying attention to what they wanted, and they don't even want to look at it because you weren't listening. So
Right.
this does not fit your criteria. However, there's something about it, blah, 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 and I put it in your agent recommendation, just for you to look at. What do you think? That's the new. But they're all.
Yeah.
They change.
Well, that's, and even after you work with somebody this long, it's like, open it up again and keep it fresh and be positive and enthusiastic. I was positive and enthusiastic, but the market was changing and things, but they walked into an open house with someone else who they thought was enthusiastic about everything. She hadn't heard all the stuff I had heard and gone through the lending and everything. So, anyway, just learn and live. So, pre-qualification, pre-approval, pretty easy, but setting the expectations. We recently had a person drop out during J1 because they were shocked at this amount of paperwork they had to do. And
I heard about that.
so, provide the neighborhood information. Home search is kind of obvious. Make the offers and set up the offer with conditions so that they understand conditions. Negotiations, vendor coordination, your pre-close. You know, a lot of agents focus on getting to them into contract and then they try to let everybody else do the rest. But I think for client service, you have to keep going through it. So seller, very, very similar thing, except here you have the marketing strategy, your property preparation, all very important to what comes receiving an offer or offers, managing that whole process. And the negotiations that go with it. And
I think this is one too, that a lot of people don't put enough time in. They're just so excited about the listing agreement that they don't really educate the seller what this is gonna look like, what the expectation of them is going to be.
right. In advance.
In advance.
Yep.
Because they get so angry. What do you mean they want to come and see it again? They were just here. What do you mean I have to do it?
Right. And
I don't want to do this. This is as is. That means as is. Well, does it?
Right. Yep.
You know, and so those, they don't want to do the listing presentation to the detail that it needs to be done for the client. And they assume if the client has bought a house before, such as that house, that they remember.
Right.
They don't.
No, they definitely don't. And they forget, it's like, will the buyer be here for the inspection? It's like, well, we highly recommend it and they don't have to be. Well, do we have to let them? And I said, for a buyer, this is the time, they've seen the house once or twice before. This is the time that they can kind of fall in love with it and make it theirs. So it's very important that you be out, that they feel comfortable, and that you let the inspector do their job. But it's just telling them through stepping, now what's the walkthrough thing? Why do I have to put up with this again? You know, explaining those things throughout. Is
What do you
what,
mean she doesn't like my counter? Why are they changing that? I just put that in.
yeah,
I like that. You're not gonna be here.
atmosphere, and they're gonna redo it all.
I wanna cancel them because they obviously don't like my house.
Not your house anymore.
Right, right.
Well,
no,
or, no, they didn't offer enough money. They offered more than you asked. Well, it's not enough. Then we should have listened more. And it's like, no, I wanna reject these.
Yeah.
I wanna reject these and wait a couple more weeks and see if I get better ones. These are over asking. Yeah, but it's.
Right. Hey, they all can do this, but set it up. So here is from the 2021 profile of home buyers and sellers. Now, this is, you know, they send out these questionnaires to buyers and sellers with probably, you know, these things listed. We don't know, you know, whether that's something everybody thought was important or whatever, but this is what they said. So your biggest area, help find the right home to purchase.
See, I don't know if I agree with that, the way that they're searching to it being 50%.
Right,
I really think
Well-
negotiate
yep,
would take a bigger bite of that, because a lot of them are helping you with the help search, none of the search.
search, right. I totally agree, and that's why I say, I take these with a little bit of grain of salt, and, you know, but I think of it in terms of, well, you know, what is the areas of value I bring? And how do buyers and sellers think? Help buyer negotiate terms of the sale. Some won't think of that because they just think, oh, we went through it and decided on the price and went from there. They don't think of really the terms of the sale. Help with price negotiations, knowing the market, sharing CMIs. And other, so I think they have a slide on what other is. Oh, no, they just put it in my notes, but there's a lot of others. Whether they know, like, and trust you, essentially. Yeah. Factors that buyers value in choosing an agent. Honest and trustworthy. Up there. Agents experience is 19%. How many of you have had clients that asked you what your experience was? But what percent ask you?
Not a large one.
Yeah, it's,
It depends. Yeah, it's not a lot. And the individual who did it was definitely high.
And it's your.
mhm. Yeah.
He was looking at, you know, how many deals have you closed
Mm-hmm.
that are like mine?
That are like mine, and yep. Yeah, the very few ask those, so don't let that be a limiting factor, but continue your education so that you can improve that. I mean, that's one of the reasons I got my broker's license. One of the listing interviews I went on, the guy said, well, this other guy's got a broker's license. Yeah.
I asked him how many would, how much experience would make him feel comfortable? That's what I asked him. It's how many transactions would that look like?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he didn't have a number. And I
Right.
said, but if you can get what you want in the
Yep.
timeline that you want it, is that more important to you?
Right. Yeah, yep, and ask specifics, because if the other person knows, it's just, you know, their best friend is an agent on the mainland. Well, guess what? Our numbers, even the top performing agents, don't match with what performers on the mainland. Teams are throwing the numbers way out of sync. So, yeah. But you know, get to what they are looking for specifically. The reputation of an agent. One of the worst things we're at, I know my biggest thing is asking for feedback. Upping your profiles and things that are so important. But even that, if you go to and you meet somebody, are they gonna ask for your, you know, what other people have said about you? They might go to the website and check, but that's not a decision, right? Hey, oh, I'm almost out of time. Sellers want most from their agent, help price home competitively, market home to potential buyers. How many sellers actually know what good marketing is? I had one who said, that's my job. And I want to review your marketing plan, and then she tweaked it and everything. So that's like, good for you. I know.
I borrow this for my others.
Yeah, most sellers are not marketing experts.
No, no, and they don't even really think about marketing. So you have to tell them about it and why it's so important to them. Help sell the home within a specific time frame, whatever that is. Sometimes you're working with a seller for a year before they're even going to put it on the market. And that comes to helping a seller find ways to fix their home to sell more and keeping that list. And lots of other things too. Same set reputation. It's a slightly different percentages. Agent is honest and trustworthy. Agent is a friend or family member. Now that's kind of really bad, I think. Friend, maybe, because I always think my clients are friends. But yeah, family member. Usually not a good mix when you're selling a property. No.
Yeah, you say that and then it sneaks up on you, but don't do it.
Right.
Yeah, when you do, you'll only do it once. Let's put it that way.
And I've had sellers that say, well, a family member, you know, nephew or something, just got his real estate license, and you know, so I'm thinking about using him. And if that transaction goes bad, what are you gonna do with your family member after that? You can kick me out and never talk to me again, but you know. And KW technology offers a lot relative to value proposition. So now define your value proposition. So have you guys been writing any notes? I've noticed a few things. That you can then take and highlight and, you know, choose top 5 types of things that you would add over to things you, and just words or phrases that you'd want to put in your value proposition.
Like that's what we should. They should be. Are they going to do it? Maybe. True, that's true. No, I think it's a good promoting tool. That's not, I think that I think that's you have to be mindful and aware of that. You know, to be going, yeah, I do, yeah.
but I think this would be a good.
You want to share some
No.
of even bullet items?
I'm still thinking. I'm going to see. I know it sounds like a cop out, but I have to sit down and actually think about this.
Mhm. Yeah. No, and I told Sasha. This class needs more time in it for just
It really does.
think and thought process. But I encourage you to do this exercise, because just in my doing it, I did it from the perspective that I was still actively practicing real estate, which I'm really not. I'm doing mostly broker work, which I should do my proposition for that too. But it didn't take that much time. You see my long list of knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs. And then it goes to back and what do my clients want? And, you know, someone who understands Maui culture, somebody who knows Maui properties, someone who's fun but gets the job done. My preferred buyers are people moving, upgrading or moving to Maui. Preferred sellers, people who love Maui but must leave for family finances. And then I just highlighted some things in my value proposition and moved them over, just, you know, teamwork. I'm the CMA expert. I go above and beyond in those estimates. Fun, friendly, and available, balance and perspective in everything. And then I have the experience, technology, and team to get you living where there's vacation, because I've used live where there's vacation as a tagline.
I love that.
And I understand your need to leave this beautiful island and will guide you each step of the way. Then I took those and I put them into ChatGPT.
You know, I was just thinking that same thing. I wonder what ChatGPT would put out if I put in something.
Right, but it took everything I had, I put in the page. And, you know, it came out and they were too long and I kept saying short and short and short, and it rewrote them, but it didn't shorten them much. But that's some really good stuff anyway, that I didn't have to write.
Catherine, the first side, the one side of it, is that the actual exercise?
No, both sides, just because it was in 2 columns, it printed on 2 sides of the paper.
Okay, so I was gonna say, I don't see the exercise in the book.
No, the exercise isn't in the book, but that's kind of what it guides you through. And I thought, looking at it on paper and then just being able to move, you know, choose 5 to move over to your value proposition.
Great brain.
Okay, you know, just that's the analytical piece of it that I do. But I like that. I was gonna write it up on the board and things, but yeah, so ChatGPT is actually great at when you've got those items, it'll write a really nice little thing that you can tweak and make your own. Okay, so I want you guys all to do that this week and send me a copy.
Awesome.
Did you guys form accountability partners like the class talks about? You could send your accountability partner a copy too, but I'm happy to take a look and
So Sasha, speaking of the class, last week's that we skipped was supposed to be